It's the Good Gift Show, episode 6 with me, Katleho. Welcome, and welcome. Today is different. I have a genius, a multi-genius, a person who threatens me when it comes to clothes. His name is Njabulo, and we're here to welcome him. I wish there was like some sort of audience. This person needs like a very serious applaud. How are you, my brother?
All good, man. Yourself?
I'm keeping well, man. Welcome to the Good Gift Show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Njabulo. So what does your name mean? Happiness, ne?
Yeah, happiness translated to happiness. Yeah.
So what's happiness to you?
Different ways. Number one, but I think the one thing, it's doing what you love. That's happiness for me, I guess. But different people have different things.
Interpretation. Yeah.
But for me, it's doing what you love. I think that's happiness.
Talking about doing what you love, this brother right here does what he loves. He has a company called consciouscotton, which is a fusion of consciousness and bringing that fusion to clothes, or to, which is it safe to say, formal wearing?
Yeah, can say that.
See? Basically, so tell us what it does and how did you like navigate through like negativities in your career in terms of getting to where you want to be or where you want it right now.
So consciouscotton is a styling brand established early 2017. So yeah, that's basically it. We style and dress people up through the brand. So yeah, established early 2017. Obviously, when we started, there was a lot of challenges, financially and just personally. So, but we are at the stage now whereby the brand is slowly growing. Yeah.
Well, wasn't a time where you felt like, is this for me? Is it what I am here for?
Yes, of course. You do get those questions when you go along. I think it's not just, it's with everything in life in general. But yeah, you do have those moments where you question yourself, especially when you're going through the challenges, whether it be it financially or whatever. But you do have those questions and where nothing seem to be going your way or according to plan. So you do have those moments whereby you be like, is this really it, what I'm supposed to be doing, or do I need to change and start from scratch or whatever? But yeah, there has been such moments.
Looking at you from a distance, what I can tell you is that there's something I'm learning, which is consistency. Maybe you don't know that there's that element that you teach into people who are looking at you from a distance. Would you say it's something that you've learned, or it's something that you grew up with, or something natural?
I think it's something that I developed along the journey of dressing up and just evolving as a human being. It's one of those things that key elements that is needed in order to advance to a certain direction in life, regardless of whatever you're doing. So yes, that's one of the key elements. That's one of the things that I mostly talk about when I'm with the guys or wherever we're having conversation. One of the key things that come up and the topic is consistency. Yeah.
So consciouscotton. What is consciouscotton? What is the message that you're trying to tell us? What are you saying? What is the whole agenda behind the company?
It's very broad. Number one, I'd say, because we're living in a time whereby everything now is evolving. A lot of things are changing. Technology is coming to play. A lot of things that are happening. So consciouscotton is a combination of I'd say God, the source, or whatever that you choose to call. But I'm going to say God because it's the one word that most people can identify with. But obviously the word God has been overused like so many times. It's lost its deeper meaning. So for some people it's the soul, some people it's spirit, but it's really the one thing that dwells within this flesh. So that is consciousness, and combining it together with fabric, which is cotton. So cotton is just a word that represents all types of fabrics that you have in the clothing industry, whether be it wool, linen. It doesn't really matter, but it's a representation of all the fabrics that are there. So taking the fabric and and consciousness, bringing them together, which we come up with conscious cotton. So in as much as it's a styling brand, but it also entails consciousness, the evolution of the person being here on the earth. So the one word to summarize it, I think is to say the knowledge of self. So
Yeah.
it's also more about the knowledge of self, also at the same time about styling and looking good as a person as you, yeah.
Oh, okay. I would let me make an example with music, right? A lot of artists coming up, they sort of start sounding like the people who get inspired by. You know, when it comes to cottons and clothes, is it similar to music? When you start you like trying to, do something that's similar to maybe your idol David Tlale. Is it like that, or you just
It is like that with, but not for myself. Speaking for myself, and I'm being honest with this statement. It may sound maybe a bit too arrogant, but I'm yet to meet a person whom I'm looking up to when it comes to style and fashion. There hasn't been any. There are a lot of guys who dresses up sartorialism is the word for it, who dresses up. But the thing is, what happened is I was, when I started dressing up and I was into this thing, I was looking up to them. But what I realized is um, they don't really model what they're about. So what you see on social media is something that is completely different when you meet them up in personal in life. So those are the one of the things that really struck me, and I was devastated more than anything. And when you look up to someone, and one day you just come across with them on the road, wherever you guys happen to meet, and it's completely different from what you see on social media. So people, I'd say most of the guys are living two lives. One, on social media they tend to display this image that this is what they are, and when you meet them in personal life, it's something completely different. I'm talking about dressing up. So that's why I'm saying I don't really have that one person at this moment that I'm looking up to and say, this guy, if I can be no. But where the love for dressing up comes from, I think most, when I look back, I think it was Steve Jobs who once said that you can only connect the dots when you're looking back. You can't connect them when you're looking forward. So looking back at both my parents, trying to trace where did I find this thing of dressing up, the love for dressing up, where does it come from? So my mom, she's into dressing up. She still is, but she grew up with it also. She also can like put clothes together. I'm talking about like sewing. So same thing with my dad. He used to, but my dad, he was more like of a very neat guy, but stylish nonetheless. But he was very much into formal. But they never took it to that next level, whereby they created a brand or they thought they can make money out of it. So I guess with myself, I'm just a combination of both of them, the love for dressing up, and I just took it to the next level whereby I came up with a brand for the people. So yeah, that's where the love for toads comes from.
wow? So it's taken from your mother and your father.
Correct.
That's beautiful, man. How do you stay yourself? How do you stay Njabulo? What keeps you?
That's a very good question. I've never been asked that question before.
Yeah.
What keeps me? I guess doing what the way I'm so in love with this thing. To be quite honest with you, tell you the truth. I dress up. I think 80% of the time I'm dressed up, unless if maybe I'm at home, I'm not going anywhere. But the minute I have to go out or I'm going out somewhere. Even if sometimes when I'm in the house, I just feel like dressing up. I do dress up, and my friends will come through and be like, "Oh, so where were you going, or
Yeah.
where did you go somewhere?" I'm like, "No, I'm just here. I'm not going anywhere." So I think doing what you love, for me, it keeps me sane. It keeps me to be like what you say now, myself. So yeah.
And musically,
What do you mean musically?
are you drawing inspirations and
Yeah, but the thing is with music, I started when I listened to music. I started with house music, so I always boxed myself into that to say I was one of those guys saying, no, I'm just house
yeah,
fanatic. I'm not
yeah,
gonna listen to anything.
mm,
But evolving as a person and growing up, there's music is such a um, it's too like broad. You can't really
yeah,
pick one genre and say I'm gonna stick to this. I think it was Fela Kuti who said something like that along those lines. So I stand to be corrected. But yeah, so for now I listen to anything and everything. Yes, I do draw inspiration, but what inspires me more than anything is people who are doing what they love, and there's people like that for number one in the music industry, Black Coffee. So despite the type of music that he produces or he plays, the fact that he's one with what he is doing, I think that's one thing that all of us need to find and align with and be one with that. And I think once you find that, there's no such happiness that can replace that, because you're doing what your purpose is in this world, which is to bring joy to people. I think it's what other people see when they see me dressed up. They like, wow, you know. The same thing when you see a DJ playing, you don't really complimenting the music. Sometimes you do, but more than anything, you complimenting what you see, the talent that is behind the person. So yeah.
So take us through your childhood in you know, growing up. Did you always knew that this is what you want to do? Were you always the guy with nice clothes and stuff?
Surprisingly, so no, I was
Yeah.
never. I was never uh, the guy who with nice clothes. No. My childhood is a very emotional childhood. Like sometimes when I talk about it to people, I tend to feel the emotions because I can remember vividly everything what happened. So I was never that guy who used to dress up or have nice clothes. What happened is my mom, when I remember, I think I was still in primary back then, she would get like clothes from her colleagues, white colleagues to be specific. She was a cleaner there, where she used to work. So we grew up in poverty, basically. So she'd come with these clothes. She'd come them in one of those big black plastic bags used for trash. So she would come with them and bring them, and me and my sisters would come through and just pick whatever that you like or what you think it's gonna suit you. But most of the time it was what you like. So if it's too big, she would take it in and sew it in so that it fits you. If it was too small, then you have to give it to your siblings or whatever. But so basically, that's how she was able to keep food and on the table as well as clothes. I don't remember any memories. I don't have of us going to a shop or you know to go buy clothes specifically. No, it was never the case. So most of the memories that I have of my childhood was that because I think that's how I fell in love with clothes. Looking back then till now. So yeah, basically that's how we grew up in terms of that.
And church, and how did this consciousness kick in?
That's a very interesting question because this in our family, between my mom and my dad, there's six of us. So it's my brother, four sisters, and me. So two guys and four sisters, and I'm the only one who just seems to be, I don't know, call it awkward or odd or whatever. But I'm the only one who can. Who's into this thing of like awakening and evolving spiritually as a person. So I don't know where it comes from. All I know is that there were certain books that I started reading and I could identify and say, have wow moments and be like, yeah, this is true. In terms of connecting it to where it comes from, I can't really say. It could be church, but I don't think so. Like I said, I can't really hold a conversation with any of my siblings about this topic. So they just into their own stuff, and I'm just the only one who's just into this whatever that I'm you want to call it. But yeah, in terms of spirituality and evolving as a person, I can't really trace back to see this is where I got it from. So I'm here to discover that in terms of why it happened to me, or why I'm the only one who can identify it with it from my family.
You said in your family that you are born in a family of six, and I guess you were the only person that was different,
Correct.
in
Yeah.
that kind of sense. So going out, how was the like people's reaction knowing that we live with this person in the same streets and whatsoever, but look at him, he's so different.
I think that's one of the things that people respond to most of the time. It's being unique. So the response comes in different ways. Obviously, it can never be always positive. You do get those critics that people are gonna say, he thinks he's better than us or whatever. But I'd say 60% of the time the reaction has always been positive. People love it, and people respond and ask questions to say, how do you go about this? And most of the time, that's how we acquire clients through that. When people come through and they're just curious and just want to know. So if I want to be like you or dressed like you, what do I do? That's when we bring into the brand into the picture and say, be dressed by this brand. This is how you can get to yourself to be in that place whereby you look this stylish or this look this good. But yeah, the reaction from the people, 60% of the time, it's always like good. Yeah, but you do get those people that be like, yeah.
So from your James Baldwin, your Steve Biko's, you from that type of, for lack of a better word, mentorship? Were you studying those type genres when it comes to books?
Yeah, but I never generalize it into like maybe say African strictly. No, it's everything. Everything. As long as it talks about the evolving of the person, the human being, and spirituality. I read. So, but yeah, definitely, I've read some of Steve Biko and some of the heroes, African heroes to say. So yeah, there's quite a few that I'm aware of and their works, but I don't really generalize and say it's for African or whatever. But it's just broad.
Sure. And maybe this might be too personal, but I want to know where's your mind at right now. What's going on in your mind? What are you trying to achieve in terms of your company? And are there things that you always experience that you put into your work life?
Yeah. With the brand, the vision for the brand is to grow it as much as possible. Also, branch out into broadcasting and podcasting, doing podcasts. Talking about spirituality. Yeah,
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 yeah.
and the evolving of the person, and also combining it at the same time with dressing up in clothes. So one of the bigger visions we have is to have a branch in Italy, and one in US, and one in UK, and one here in South Africa, which is going to be in Cape Town. So that's in terms of the brand. But in terms of myself, there's a lot of questions at the moment, because um, when there's a lot of questions when I look at. I'm a very curious person, so I'm curious about everything. So when you look at life in general, in terms of what is happening right now in the world, you look at this pandemic that is happening. When I look at something, I don't just look at it and pass. And I most of the time I tend to look and analyze and ask myself questions. So one of the questions I ask myself is, what does this thing bring into the humanity? Yeah, that's what's currently happening in my mind right now. I'm looking at humanity as a whole, us evolving, and what this pandemic that we're going through at the moment, what is the purpose for it, and why is it here, and how can we move past that challenge? Yeah.
So you spoke of the US in terms of branching out. You spoke of US, Italy, and speaking about that, I saw that you were in a conversation with a African brother from France. Could you please tell us a little bit more of that? Is it a collaboration? Are you guys working on something, or it's just I'm trying to learn from you and vice versa?
Yeah, it was more of that thing of tapping into each other's world more than anything, because he follows the brand on Instagram. I also follow him back. His name is Yannick. He's a fan of the brand. He's always like, whenever we post something, he's always like one of the first person to comment and say, this is beautiful, whatever. I love the concept. I love the art. He's one of the people that do get what Conscious Cotton is about, because we don't just do a photo shoot or take pictures for the sake of taking pictures. There has to be a concept behind. So when you get the concept and you look at the caption, and you look at those two things, you can be able to get the story of what we're trying to say. So he's one of the guys that first to comment. So we've been talking via inbox on Instagram, and an idea came about to say, hey, let's do a live chat, and we can just tell me about where you're from and where I'm from. So that was the whole thing, about just to tap into each other's world, to learn about style in terms of him being in France, what is happening in terms of style, what is happening there, and then him asking the same questions, and because they tend to have this mentality of Africa to say, when they see such things coming, booming out of social media, they be like, is this from Africa? So yeah, I was also like bringing in ideas in terms of what is happening style wise here in Africa. So that's what the whole thing was all about.
And it's very saddening in times to see people from outside of our country appreciating us, and at the same time it's a good thing, because you're like, wow, I'm really growing in terms of my career and stuff. Would you say that is the case, that we should be more appreciated at home before anywhere else?
That's what happens with most of the guys. I'd say I've heard a lot of guys complaining about that. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's something to do with our government or the way we're doing things. But it's always the case that outside people will recognize the work, and sometimes we even be willing to invest in it. And then the minute it grows and it becomes this big thing, then all of a sudden the governments, they start to put their hands in it to say, this is the guy from Africa or whatever, South Africa, and they try and put the claim into all of that. So that's something that is one of the challenges that maybe most of the guys are going through. But it's not just in style. I think it's in every way.
And when it comes to your clothes, what comes first because you do your own clothing, right? From scratch to designing, to making it become physical and stuff. Correct. Like that. So what comes first? Is it inspiration, or do like someone call you, maybe say a customer saying, I want this type of thing? Like take us through the process of making an outfit.
It's in two different ways. For myself, I'd say I'm a person who's in love with art. I think art, and so art has to do with colors and whatnot. So with myself, I like to experiment. If there's a certain color that I think it will fit, that I haven't done before, that's where I go about. Or maybe if I am at the shop, I'm looking at certain fabrics and whatever. So if there's a fabric that I like, I tend to pick out. So I just pick it out and come up with a design for it, and then just tailor it from scratch like that. When it comes to a client, you get different clients. Some people come through knowing exactly what they want. They're just going to tell you, I want this in this design, and And when it's like that, it's just a straightforward process whereby you take them their measurements, and then from measurements, they give you the design they want of the attire, and then from then on it gets to be made, and then they come through for fittings, and yeah, that's the whole process. Where in other cases where it gets challenging, it's whereby you get someone who has no idea what they want. All they know is, I've seen you dressing like that, and I want to be like you. And not knowing that it's not gonna look the same. I may take the suit that I made maybe last week or whenever, and I give it to a different guy. It's not gonna look the same because the style is different in terms of that. So some people come through no idea what they want, so you need to provide them with different ideas in terms of designs, to say at least give them a 3 and say these are the 3 designs, or maybe these are the 3 fabrics I think it's going to work for you, and then from then on you just advise them in terms of making the right choice. But it also goes with the shape or of the body also. You get some people big body wise, so that also goes into play. Yeah.
Have you taken any risk when it comes to servicing a customer? Maybe knowing that, okay, this might come at my detriment, but let me take a risk.
No, so far, no. So far, I've been very fortunate. I'm not sure if I can even say fortunate, but all the guys that have customers or clients that we've worked with before, it's always been a smooth ride. There's never been any challenges. I think it goes together with when you do what you love, man. The people can see it. They can read that. So it becomes a bit difficult for them to give you a hard time. Sometimes even when maybe the pants or the jacket is too big or too small, the only thing you need to do is take it back in, or extend the material. But that's the only challenge I can think of. Other than that, we've never faced any challenging or taking of risk to say, okay, this may come at a big cost or whatever. No, I'm here to experience that. So far, we are here to experience that as a brand.
So what are you doing now? What's your what are the projects are you working on right now?
Right now, given that we going towards the festive season, so we just have a few clients that we are busy with. During this period of the year, we don't really have any concept, but what we've done the past, I think it was last month. So what we do as a brand, we have 2 concepts that we do yearly. So now, right now at this moment, we're preparing for the first concept, which is going to be the autumn winter concept. So that's where we get to showcase the brand, what it's about. So we come up with a concept to say, this is the concept you're going to be doing, and then from that concept you're going to be showcasing the clothes and whatnot. So during the period of the year, we have 2 of them that we do. It's the first one is autumn winter, and then once we've done that, we wait for winter to pass, and then after that we go into spring and summer. So the current one that we just did now was the spring summer promo, which people can see when they go through the social media.
So you already have plans for 2021?
Yeah, you always have to work ahead. Everything is pre-planned. So we're just waiting for time to catch up. So, but yeah.
This is really interesting, guys. Conscious Cotton, where do they find you on the socials?
It's @consciouscotton on all platforms. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's Conscious Cotton.
So, I guess there's something that you're trying to spark whenever you post or try to deliver something on social media. So one of your, which I forgot, there's a quote that I liked, man. So you always drop jabs whenever you posting something.
Not always. I always try to because you can't. Not everyone is open to this awakening. Some people are just all about style and dressing up, and that's it. You don't want to be hearing anything about spirituality or whatever. Don't tell us about that. They're just all about styling. So I try to accommodate both worlds. So it's sometimes if the inspiration comes whereby you feel that there's something that you need to say, or there's something that needs to be said, that goes together with the concept, then we'll add it to the caption. But at the same time, we're also trying to accommodate, bringing those motivational quotes in, but fashion wise and style wise, to try and motivate the people about fashion and style.
And there's this other thing that I like about you, man. You really, when trying to convey a message, or inspiration or anything of some sort, you're really concise. There won't be someone that says, "What is he trying to say? I'm confused," or anything like that. Like, straight to the point type of person. You know what you want. You stick to your guns, which is a very, very beautiful thing that people should learn from you, especially us black people. So this is what you're trying to do, pushing us forward. Making us know that the sky is not the limit.
Yeah.
Even if it's the limit, they lie to us.
Yeah, it's not. The universe is the limit. The sky is not the limit. So yeah. But more than anything, I think the inspiration behind the brand also is, it's also trying to point out or shine a light to say, find that thing that you love. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to do with fashion or dressing up. It can be anything. It can be writing, it can be singing or whatever. But just find that thing that when you do, you're one with it. And try and develop it as much as you can, and the universe is going to help you. People who are into that, whatever that thing is, are going to come through and tag along and show you love and have a liking into it, and then from then on you're just going to grow. So that's one of the things that the brand is trying to show or bring light to the people.
And when it comes to your company as well, there's one thing that I've noticed whenever you talk about conscious cotton. You don't always say I, you say we.
Yeah, because there's no I in the team. So in as much as we are at the very very early stage of the brand, we still have a long way to go. Like I said, we want to branch out. We want to have a branch in Cape Town. It's the only branch that's going to be in SA. Also UK, Italy, and the US. So those are the only branches that you're going to have in the world. So of conscious cotton. So one of the things that going back to what you're talking about, the I think one of the things that I really have a problem with is trying to be a dictator. Whoever is going to tag along into the brand, they're going to see that themselves, that it's not really about that. So yeah, that's basically it. It's just it's about the brand, not about me. I myself can only take the brand up to so far. So there's certain people who are going to come through and tag along and elevate the brand. So if I'm going to keep on saying I'm only talking to the ego. So when those people come through, it's not going to be easy for them to help to move the brand to where it needs to be. But if they come through to the table and they see that we're working with the brand, we're not working with the person, then it becomes much easier. They can even come through with their ideas, whatever ideas that they may have, and put them to the table, and we just take along and move as a collective.
When you talk like this, you remind me of Tupac when he said, "I might not change the world, but I might spark someone who will change the world."
Definitely, yeah.
In closing, man, what's your message to people who are in some sort of a plight, some sort of a difficult situation, maybe similar to yours when growing up, not being able to be bought things and stuff like that, but they do have dreams. They do have something that they want to achieve at the end of the day.
I think I don't want to sound like a motivational speaker, but let's say what needs to be said. I think one of the things that I can say to the people is, number one, there's no such thing as accidental happenings in this world or in this universe. Everything is connected. So you may not be going through such a period, a difficult period in your life right now, and when you look into your situation, it's very helpless, and you can't really find something that you can point to and say, okay, this is happening because of this. Sometimes it just might be lost, but probably 2 years or 3 years down the line, you're going to be able to recognize when you connect the dots, like I said earlier on, to see, okay, this was meant to grow me in this area or in this such way. So one of the things is to persevere, man, to be persistent and to be positive. But that alone doesn't help. You need to educate yourself as a person. One of the things that helps, which helped me, is reading books. So the more you reading, how I see reading is just tapping into other people's maps. So and see how they got to where they got to, and you just take whatever you take from that, and then you put it into your direction wherever you're going in life. But number one, persistence, and have a vision, have a goal, have something to go towards to. So when you do that, you avoid one of the things that is happening currently to our youth right now. There's so much I'd say, for lack of a better word, I'd say drug abuse or whatever. Most of the youth is being victim in terms of to that, drugs and all of the things that are happening, crime and all of that. It's because I think majority of the youth, they don't have a thing that they're chasing after. I think one of the motivational speakers spoke to, once he was being interviewed, he said something like, in the US they invented this, I don't know what they call it, but the missile. So when it's being fired up from a jet towards a specific target. If the target disappears, it self-destructs the whatever the weapon that they created. So it was created based on a human mind. So it goes to say that when you as a human, you don't have any specific goal or targets that you're going towards. It's very easy to be distracted. It's very easy to be a victim into all of these things, because there's nothing that you're chasing or you're going after. I think even if when you have dreams, it becomes easier to select your company, the type of people you hang out or you hang around with, to say these are the type of people that are not driven, or they don't have any visions towards their life. So obviously you have to just sideline those people and just keep on going wherever where you're going with life. So I think, to summarize it, that's just it. Have a vision and be positive and persistent, and above all, take action and take risk.
My brother, I didn't know all of that you said when you spoke about but anyway, it's all good, man. We live and learn. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for inviting us into your beautiful home. I've learned a lot, man. I hope the message that you're trying to convey be heard. You are an institution, and the world will soon catch your fire, man. It might not be now, but it will be soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for inviting us, man.
No, thank you guys for coming through and for the time. I think I myself as well learned a lot from just this talk. So yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
This is the Good Gift Show. Please subscribe, like, and comment, and hit the notification button so you can get the latest videos. My name is Katleho, and we out of here. Thank you so much. Peace.